Donnie, yo, Mikey, Don, what's going on? The younger two blinked without answer, before Mikey looked at the older. Yeah. Donnie pulled the turtle slightly up, freezing when their expression shifted into one of pain, a soft whimper escaping their mouth. Mikey dropped to his knees, pushing his hands behind the turtle's back as Donnie held up their head, before carefully shifting them into the older's lap. Oh, geez. Donnie's expression softened. He gently touched their cheek, before shifting their head. He eyed the scars, now noticing the red stripes across their eyes. Their breathing was labored as if they were struggling. Their body flinched and shivered now and then, their expression looking like ones of distress. Their body was as cold as ice, yet their head was feverishly hot. They were hurt, badly. From what the genius could see, their shell was cracked. There was dried blood on their lip, and their body was covered in scars. Donatello, Michelangelo. He heard their oldest brother yell, not out of the watch, but at the end of the tunnel. Rushed footsteps approached them, Leo yelling all the way. Why are neither of you answering? Do you know how worrying that is? What if the mutant hurt you? He trailed off once he saw the situation. Both Mikey and Donnie looked up, a worried frown painted on their face. How bad is it, Don? The leader asked instead. Later, he could lecture them later. Donnie let go of their cheek, gently placing a hand on their chest. It's pretty bad. 1. We gotta get them back to the lair if we want them to make it. Whoa. Raphael crossed his arms, looking suspicious. We can't just bring some random mutant to the lair. It could be a trap. What if they're with the Krang or another? Do they look like they're with the Krang? Donnie asked. If anything, they look like they got out of a fight with them. Stop mentioning the Krang. They're gone. The youngest whined, not wanting to talk about the monsters. Even if they had been recently defeated, he still had nightmares. Mikey looked around, trying to find any evidence of any battle or whatever. Instead, he noticed a katana. Getting up, he walked towards the weapon and picked it up. It had blue engravings on it. A loud rumble made the quartet freeze. They watched as the orange cracks retreated, slowly but surely moving to the orange, glowing circle in the ceiling before it closed altogether, any evidence of them ever being here gone. But just before the cracks had disappeared, Michelangelo heard a whisper. Thank you. I found their weapon. The other three looked up, eyes widening. Blue bandana, katana, mutant turtle. The younger three looked at Leo, who quickly held out his arms as if trying to defend himself. Donnie winced, inspecting a specific cut on their chest. I'm serious. We gotta get them to the lair. Fat chance. Raph growled back. It's dangerous. They're gonna die, Raph. Would you say something? Raphael turned back to Leo, who was hesitating. Mikey kneeled back down, gently touching their face. A soft whimper escaped their mouth, making them silent. They sounded so young. Now that he brought attention to it, this turtle looked just as young as Mikey. Mikey's lip trembled, and he looked at Leo pleadingly. Donnie looked at him with concern, and even Raph was starting to hesitate. It's not safe, it's not safe, it's not. The kid winced in their unrestful slumber, clearly in pain, slightly leaning against Donnie for his warmth. He made his choice. Raph picked them up. Carefully, Raphael clearly wanted to protest, but one more look at the turtle, and he relented. But that didn't mean he trusted the situation. Not one bit. Mikey scooted aside, Raph taking his place. Donnie shifted slightly, before carefully pushing the turtle into the other's arms. The turtle whimpered and whined, frowning, clearly in pain. Raph made sure not to put any pressure on their chest, before slowly rising to his feet, holding their bridle style. You got them. Raph nodded, tightening their hold slightly. They were so small, just as small as Mikey. His youngest brother appeared beside him, holding the katana he found. None of them noticed the light orange sparking from the stranger's hand. Needless to say, his 4 sons appearing with another mutant was the last thing Splinter had expected. He had looked up from where he sat, about to ask his sons what they found, but wasn't given a chance when Donnie and Raph immediately rushed to medbay, his red-banded son holding a turtle in his arms. Splinter had feared the worst, until he saw his other 2 sons run right after them. What? He rose, following behind them quickly, about to ask what the meaning of this was. Mikey, get me towels. As many as you can. Leo, bring a bowl of water. Yes, that bowl should do. Raph, you're with me. Donatello had entered doctor mode. There was no snapping him out of it once this happened. Put him down gently. Yes, good. As Raph made sure the turtle was placed correctly. This was not the first time he had to set someone in this position, and definitely not the last. Donnie pulled out some equipment from the closet closest to them. A heart monitor was immediately attached to their chest. He watched it beep for a couple of seconds, pulses irregular. He felt around their head, then plastron, and winced. Definitely a fractured rib. A couple maybe. I'll have to scan. He felt around their arms. Raph, get me the first aid kit. His older brother nodded and sped out. Mikey came running inside and threw the towels onto a table before he immediately ran out, probably to see if he could help Leo. Donatello. Splinter tried anyway, but sighed when his son didn't even look up. What is the meaning of this? I wish I knew, Sensei. Donnie traced their legs. It felt like their legs seemed fine, other than a couple of bruises, before he noticed their hand. We found them like this in the sewers. Gotta help, was all he said, and reached out for their hand. Did they seem to be holding a piece of paper? He frowned and grabbed it. His eyes widened at the sight. It was a picture of 4 turtle mutants, a human, and a rat mutant. The 4 turtles even wore bandanas in their colors. But the one with red was huge, and the purple. Was that supposed to be him? There was a much smaller, orange one, and the turtle he had in front of them. Later he set the picture aside, before getting to work. He breathed in deeply, before snapping the bone in their arm back into place. Leo and Mikey returned holding 2 bowls of water, and Raph came rushing inside with the first aid kit. The genius nodded in approval. Mike, clean the blood off Raph, hold their legs up. Leo, help me with their chest. They definitely have a concussion. The 3 nodded, not saying a word. The hothead did as he was told, and slightly lifted their legs, while Mikey grabbed a bowl of water and a towel. He may not have been as much of an expert as Donnie yet, but he knew enough to try and clean off the blood without hurting them further. Squeezing the soaked towel, he carefully ran it on their leg. They're freezing? He noted. Donnie nodded, feeling around their chest again, grabbing an alcohol wipe, and starting to clean the wounds. He noted he still had to check their shell. They have a fractured rib, but if they don't move around they should be fine. Leo nodded, removing their gear at the same time. He left the bandana for last. It felt weird, but had no choice in the end. They had red stripes across their eyes. For some reason, that made the leader relieved. Splinter had been watching silently the entire time. Before he sat down, waiting for them to finish the task. Careful, almost done. Donnie let them know, making Raph sigh with relief. The turtle had been turned on their stomach, being held up by Raph as Donnie hadn't wanted to lay them down. Donnie was rubbing cream on their shell, one that would hopefully help with the cracks on it. Thankfully, their shell didn't seem too bad. And done. The oldest 2 nodded, and turned the mutant to their side. Tubes and needles poked into their arms, painkillers, and medicine pumping into their body. Donnie had scanned them, finding out that the damage wasn't too bad. What they had thought was internal bleeding was just their gums, thankfully. They had 3 fractured ribs, and another fracture in their arm. Their legs were bruised, and a concussion. But if they were mutant turtle, and had faster healing, like them, they should be fine. That didn't stop him from wrapping them up like a mummy. Okay. The genius exhaled, finally slipping out of doctor mode, which brought another problem. He exhaled shakily again, before turning to their biggest brother, and just smushing his face in his shoulder, trying to keep it together. His hands had gone numb, and the towels and water were soaked red. How could someone have so much blood inside them? How could so much of it bleed out and still live? And it didn't help that he looked just like Leo. Just like when he had gotten hurt and wouldn't wake up. Leo didn't hesitate to hug him back, squeezing tight. Raph looked at them. He had almost gotten sick from the amount of blood. That was a lot of blood. Leo had gotten sick, needing to rush to the bathroom in the middle of it. Whenever he or Raph seemed to freeze up, Mikey took over, expression, just as blank as Donnie's. It freaked Leo out to no end how their sunshiny little brother seemed to be able to turn off his emotions as he pleased. Now he was just shaky, however, squeezing Leo's hand. He seemed to remember the same memory as Donnie. Leo pulled him into the embrace too. I'm here, he told them. The purple-banded turtle whined, while all Mikey did was shrug. I know. Will any of you care to inform me about your findings? Seeing the oldest was busy with the youngest too, Raph took it upon himself to explain, and pulled up his shell phone. We found these weird cracks in the walls. Don says it's magic. He pulled up a picture, and showed it to their father. Splinter looked surprised. Mystic energy. Donnie threw back, annoyed. I and Mikey found the mutant after we followed the trail. It seems they got out of a fight. Splinter wasn't satisfied with that explanation, but accepted it anyway before he noticed the katana Mikey had placed in the corner of the room. Following his gaze, Mikey frowned. Yeah, they had that with them. I think it's theirs. Would make sense. The blue matches their bandana, which is a whole nother thing. The genius pulled away, before picking up the picture he had found in their hand, and showed it to his family. Their eyes widened, They look just like us? Mikey cried out, looking between the newcomer and Leo. Raph looked amazed. I look huge. He sounded kinda proud. Splinter did not comment on the rat that was way too small. Dawn looks weird. Leo huffed, before frowning. Are those eyebrows? Ah, yes. Just assume the random turtle we find is another Leo. Great idea. Donnie groaned, 2 hands folded in front of his mouth. Leo cocked his head to the side. Kinda hard not to. You rave about the multiverse all the time. It could be a trap just as easily. Raph snapped out of his awe and crossed his arms, staring at the turtle with distrust. Donnie sighed and grabbed a syringe. Splinter looked up. What are you planning, my son? DNA test, Donnie said, putting the syringe in their arm, and pulling out a tiny amount of blood, making Leo almost gag again. As if they didn't have enough of that, the purple-banded turtle put a sticker on the syringe, before grabbing a second one and walking over to his brother. Leo took a step back. No, I need a DNA sample from you as well, Leo. Can't you just use those cotton things on my mouth, or something? Gross. Donnie shuddered at the thought. Raph grinned. Are you afraid of needless, fearless? The leader huffed but finally held out his arm, slightly wincing when Donnie poked him, before pulling out and putting a different colored sticker on the syringe. Then, he walked over to his computer, put in both tubes, and waited. Scanning. It's gonna take a bit, Donnie warned, Leo already walking towards the corner with the weapon, and grabbing it. It felt like his katana. It felt familiar. Sure, it looked different, but it felt the same. But where was the other one? He held out the weapon, looking it over, bending his arms to see how it felt. Donnie rolled his eyes, turning back to the screen. It feels familiar. Leo sounded zoned out, switching hands to see how it would feel that way. Mikey lit up. Dude, I felt like that too. With those glowy cracks. That's probably not a good thing, Mike. Dude, they were cut off as Leo yelped. Quickly looking at him, their eyes widened at the sight of a small, blue glowing circle. Raph immediately had his weapon ready, and Leo took a step back. What did you do? I just swung it. The leader defended himself, blinking rapidly. How did that happen? That's when he noticed the glowing of the katana. Huh, he hummed, holding the weapon to his purple brother. Does this happen to have the same mystic energy as the cracks? Donnie's eyes widened, quickly took the katana and scanned it. Not the same, he concluded, looking at the small circle thing, but similar. The orange was just stronger. Much stronger. In fact, as an experiment, Donnie took a piece of paper, crumpled it, and threw the paper ball through the portal. Raph yelped when he got hit behind the head, turning around. What the? He was cut off when he saw another portal behind him, the size of his head. Donnie cheered. I was right. It is another portal. Awesome. Mikey took the katana from Donnie at once, swinging it excitedly. He frowned when nothing happened. He pouted. Leo, how did you do it? I just swung it. Leonardo took it back, swinging it the same way Mikey had done. He flinched back when a second portal opened. Odd. Donnie scanned the weapon again, now letting Leo hold it. It's responding to you, Leonardo. Only you. His eyes widened. Multiverse theory. His head snapped back to the doppelganger, before his machine.
Result ready. See result? Yes/no. Yes. Loading. DNA samples. 90% match.
90. Donnie asked with confusion, quickly taking a hold of the keyboard and typing something into the computer. Everyone else was frozen, before looking between Leo and the stranger. So that is Leo? Raph cried out. The genius was mumbling. I don't understand, it shouldn't be able to give 90. That's impossible. It would be around 50 for a family member, 99 for a parent, and 100 for it being the same person. Why doesn't it? He found it. Donatello went silent. This guy has part human DNA, he announced, making everyone freeze. Donnie read further. And he is not the same species of turtle as us. This is a red-eared slider. Do we even have ears? What does that matter? Raphael growled, crossing his arms, and staring at Leo's doppelganger. Whatever happened to fearless clone that caused him to look like that? He pointed at Leo's midsection, which was covered in bandages. We should be on the lookout for whatever freaky villain we are dealing with now before it gets to us. If that's supposed to be Leo, where are the other us? Dude, it's just like Freaky Friday, but on a Tuesday. Mikey leaned over Raph's shoulder, quickly being pushed off. Splinter had been silent the entire time, his gaze not having left the other version of his oldest. The turtle's expression shifted into one of pain, a quiet whimper leaving his mouth. The rat gently placed a paw on his cheek, making soft shushing sounds. The other four stopped their theorizing to look at their father. Splinter caressed his head, staring intently at the turtle. Carefully, he pressed a hand on the top of their head, their other cheek, then their neck, before looking at the actual Leo. Perhaps some psychic help will help. April. Donnie blinked, before lighting up. Of course, why didn't I think of that? I'll call her right away. Great, the hot-headed turtle grumbled while Mikey groaned. And now to watch Donatello fanboy over April again. When you told me there was another Leo from another universe in the lair, I thought you were joking. I wish. April stared down at the newest turtle in surprise, her expression softening once she noticed how much he seemed in discomfort. She sighed. And what exactly is it you want me to do? You've taken care of everything. If we tried to find whatever it is that hurt him so badly, we could be searching for it forever. The genius explained, walking over to the bed they had placed the slider in. Leo sat beside him on a chair, with his youngest brother, having gone silent, clutching his biggest brother's hand. As amazed as he had seemed at first, Mikey's excitement had been fully snuffed out when Splinter suggested they put the turtle in a tub just like how they had done with Leo when he was hurt. Of course, Splinter hadn't known this, and hadn't understood when the younger three had looked traumatized at the suggestion until Leo explained. The idea had quickly been brushed off. That didn't stop Michelangelo from clinging to his brother, who, for once in a while, did not comment, even if his expression seemed blank. Raph, as much as he pretended to not care, had been standing guard behind ever since, leaning against a wall with crossed arms. So you want me to see whatever it is that hurt him? That was the only response. April frowned. She didn't like the idea of it. Wouldn't it be better if Splinter meditated on the matter? Donnie, he already did, is still doing so. The turtle sighed, before looking at her pleadingly, a hint of fear in his eyes. Just, please. I can't do this again. That statement alone broke her heart. It sounded so unlike Donnie. She sighed. All right, I'll see what I can do. The genius sighed in relief, before leading the human over to the bed. He didn't even seem in the mood to remember he had a crush on her, as he took her hand without a second thought and carefully placed it on Leo's head. I'm certain he has a concussion and a crack in his skull. I fixed everything I could and the faster healing should help. But still, be careful. He positioned her hand in a way that wouldn't hurt him before he let go. April took in a deep breath and closed her eyes. There was a lot. A human boy. Hockey gear. Didn't know the boy? Knew. A rat and a human girl. Finding the man. Spaceship. Sacrifice. Purple and orange were trapped in masses of pink. The littlest of the two crying. Red. Big red. Hurt. He was hurt. So much pink. 4 turtles. 2 were thrown. Yes, thrown. The third, a big one, a red one, jumped off after. A slice in the air. A blue, glowy circle. Bright, yellow eyes. Be a hero. Be like the leader. Be whatever it is Red wanted you to be. Make him proud. Pain. So much pain. But so much relief. The turtle smiled, proud of himself. His brothers are safe, they're okay? Bright, yellow eyes stared angrily at him. But all Blue did was grin. You just got portal chopped. April pulled her hands back at once with a gasp, almost falling backward at the memory she had received. The turtle shook awake, clearly not expecting that reaction. The human was gasping, staring at the turtle with disbelief, before turning to look at her Leonardo with anger. Even in another universe, you're a reckless moron, she hysterically asked, making them all freeze. Before the turtles shot their big brother an accusing look. You've got to be kidding me. Donnie deadpanned, making Raph shout in frustration. Seriously? Again, Mikey whimpered, suddenly having hold of Leo's entire arm. The leader huffed. Clearly, Other Me did what he had to do to save you guys. So he did a good job. There was absolutely no reason for you to sacrifice yourself. Again, April cried out, suddenly having the urge to hit the blue-themed turtle. Leo flinched back, making Mikey whine, and cling to him tighter. Why do you keep being so reckless, Lee? He asked softly. Leo sighed, patting his head. Because that is my job as the leader at Auto. He told him, making Raph growl. When did our brother stop being our brother, and become the leader? Leo ignored the comment. Other Me must have had no choice. And if him doing this got his brother safe, I'm proud of him. Leo crossed his arms. Now, is whatever hurt him still a threat? No. April thought back. She couldn't make out whatever it is that hurt him was. All she saw were bright, yellow eyes, and a golden chain holding it down. You said a golden portal got him here. I don't know what hurt him, but something was holding whatever it was down. Donnie hummed. Someone saved him. Good. Raph sat on the chair Leo had gotten up from, looking at the slider. Someone's gotta keep an eye on Fearless over here. We best let Master Splinter know there is no danger. Leo was already walking out. The youngest two stared. I miss the old Leo, Mikey pouted. Donnie patted his head, before turning to the red-banded turtle. You coming, Raph? If I do that I'm gonna whack Leo on the head. So no. Taking those anger management classes seriously, I see. Donnie turned to April with a questioning look. She nodded, typing something on her phone, most likely to update Casey on the situation. It had been half an hour. It felt nostalgic, waiting in front of the leader, waiting for him to wake up again. Raph tried not to think about it, instead trying to think of other stuff. So this guy was Leo, and the other people were them. Raph had to admit, he was kinda jealous of his counterpart's look. The picture was in his view, having been placed on the dresser beside the bed. Did the slider know how to return to his dimension? Did their counterparts know Leo was here? Whatever happened for him to end up here? Who saved him? Why did he need to be saved? Why was Leo an idiot? Raph's scowl turned into a sad expression. Why did Leo always seem to be challenging death? One way or another. He got it, he wanted his siblings safe. Raph wanted that too, and would do anything in the world for them. But at least he wasn't throwing himself into a ravine for absolutely no reason. Like Leo cool, sure was it necessary to throw yourself between Donnie and the laser, while you could have easily thrown something between them like the shield you were holding instead of trying to see if you could pull another Uno reverse on death. Again, a groan interrupted his train of thought. Raphael's head snapped up. A glassy pair of brown eyes met his gaze. The turtle froze. RPH. The newcomer was only half there, looking so out of it and in so much pain, clearly not realizing this wasn't the Raphael he knew. Raph hesitated, before playing along. I'm here, he told him. Not sure how to act before, hesitantly, he placed a hand on the turtle's cheek. Just go back to sleep. Leo, how am I alive? The turtle asked, making Raph freeze. Leo, what is the last thing you remember? KRing. The turtle whispered awfully, thinking. Pain, hurt lots. Was gold though? So much gold warm, he nuzzled his head against Raph's hand. Raph opened and shut his mouth, not sure how to proceed. He stiffened when he saw tears in the kid's eyes. Kid. This turtle was not their age. This turtle was younger. That alone made the protective older brother in him growl. Why you not, Timmy? Leo slurred, struggling to look at who he thought was his Raphael. Raph blinked. I'm sorry, and tears slipped past his eyes, dripping onto the cushion. Shit. Emotions were Mikey's thing, not Raph's. All he did was make everything worse, but his heart, which he did not have, shattered at the sight of the sobbing turtle, gently using his thumb to wipe one of the stray tears away. Mikey better not be filming. He did not have a heart. He did not? It's okay, he told him, not knowing for sure whatever he was saying was okay too. We'll fix it. But I got everyone hurt, 'cause I didn't listen. I thought you wanted me to be a hero. Why aren't you mad at me, hermano? His crying just got worse. Raph was speechless. Before he bent down, pressing their faces together, imagining this was one of his brothers in front of him. We'll figure it all out later, Fearless, he told him with a low voice. You just go back to sleep. There were no protests, and his eyes slipped shut, proof of just how exhausted the slider was. Once he was sure the turtle had fallen back asleep, did Raph relax, grabbing the end of the blanket to wipe away the drying tears. Oh, Leo, Raph said, too softly for anyone to hear. Why does every version of you have to be so stupid? They had him. Mikey, eyes still orange, looked from the portal in shock. They had him. Just a couple of seconds ago, he had been sure they would have left his brother to die. Please, he had pleaded, begging for anyone to hear him. And they did. They had him. Orange started to calm, the cracks that had spread to the ground slowly returning to their rightful owner, the glow dimming down. The only evidence that they had ever been there was cracks and bursts on the floor, scarily resembling scars. The glow of his body dimmed down too, and the turtle felt relieved. Finally, he could let go. The portal, or rather, the attempt of a portal, closed. As it did, the glow of his eyes dimmed down, his pupils returning. Thank you, he sighed, smiling thankfully. It's okay. Leo is okay. Mikey pulled him out. Michelangelo. He suddenly heard his brother scream, which was odd. Why was he screaming? Shouldn't he be thankful? He pulled Leo out. He saw Raph grab him. The snapper turtle did not seem to notice, his soft shell brother right behind him, tears streaming down his cheeks, but expression serious, fearful, which didn't belong on Donnie's face. He immediately started scanning his youngest brother, while Raph reached out, hesitating before he did so. Oh, Raph was crying too, and only then did he become aware of the pain. The white, agonizing, heart-ripping pain. Oh God. Numbly, the box turtle stared at his arms. Oh, so that's why his brothers were freaking out. His arms looked bad, like really bad, while the cracks had spread all over his body. The only evidence of them ever being there was his arms. They trembled a lot, and even if the glow had long dimmed down, there were scars. Deep scars, and oh god, they were bleeding too. But Mikey wasn't scared. He wasn't hurt. He felt none of it. Looking at those scars, he felt peaceful. Eyes rolling into the back of his head, the turtle collapsed. He was faintly aware of someone screaming red, while Purple was yelling back, just as afraid. Long, strong arms caught him before he could hit the ground, cradling him gently even if said grip was desperate. Oh, yeah, this was bad, wasn't it? Probably. Orange couldn't think at the moment. It must be. But why? He saved Blue. Maybe because his arms hurt, but he barely felt it. Wasn't even aware at this point. And even with all the screaming, all the panic, the yelling, the pain, the confusion, and even as his vision was turning dark, Michelangelo felt at peace.